A pleasant day to all of you and welcome to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and on this 29th day of August 2022, it's a Monday, and we start the week relatively dry, and I hope that the sun will be shining, not just in your part of the country, but in your life. Okay. Today, let's get our daily starter off the ground, and it comes from businessman Tillman Fertitta. When times are really bad, we forget that they can be good again. When times are really good, we forget that they can be bad again. I chose this daily starter to start our week this week, the 29th of August to September 2, just to remind all of you to be mindful. Let's be mindful of our circumstance, our situation, and don't let it feel or don't think like it's forever. Sabi nga nila, yung traffic daw sa EDSA forever. Try it at 2 o'clock in the morning. There is no traffic on EDSA. But in all seriousness, if you're going through a rough spot or difficulty or like sad time in your life, it's not forever, okay? And if you are rejoicing and celebrating because you're doing so well in your business, in your career, be mindful that you always have to save for a rainy day, or at least always be prepared when things don't turn out good or when situations become difficult. Ika nga dati hindi natin pinapansin yung sibuyas na pula. We used to treat red onions as second class choices in the kitchen. Now, it's the only thing you can buy, okay? And remember that. Anyway, let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star, and let's catch up on the news that piled up over the weekend. The front page from yesterday's press conference with the Chinese official, China wants proper settlement of South China Sea dispute, also working for peaceful reunification with Taiwan. Okay, so that's the front page headline, and that comes from a statement made yesterday by the former Chinese ambassador, who is now a minister, okay, in the Department of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China. And he essentially made that statement, pag-usapan na natin to ng maayos. Pero ayaw nilang pag-usapan sa United Nations. They prefer country to country. Now let's go to the top of the front page, the header. Education aid payout better, but kinks remain. Okay, DSWD Secretary Erwin Tulfo was very specific. Thank God. Maraming salamat sa Panginoon and to the local government officials and the DepEd officials who assisted them, because when they restarted the payout for financial support of students in crisis, it was better than their first attempt, which was a disaster. Okay, to the right of the top of the newspaper, the question is, do you have long COVID? Okay, this is an article written by Boom Tenorio, and the article is about long COVID. People who have been infected by COVID-19, by Omicron, etc. Apparently, there is a small percentage of approximately, give or take 10 to 12% of former COVID patients who are now experiencing a strange side effect or after effect of COVID, now called long COVID. They experience, first of all, fatigue. Months after the infection, buwan na ang nakalipas, ilang buwan na ang nakaraan, para daw silang upos, nang hihina, weak. That's the first sign. And then they have a unusual smelling sensation. Either biglang nawawala yung pang-amoy, or they smell things that they don't normally smell, a heightening of their smelling ability. Okay, and then, of course, third, yung intermittent, pabalik-balik na ubo. Okay, so weakness, fatigue, smelling, altering of the smelling sensations, and then fatigue, smelling, and then coughing, etc. So if you're experiencing this, there might be a chance, an unfortunate chance, that you are suffering from an extended version of COVID. Now, don't lose hope. It's not forever. Again, it's not forever. Mawawala din daw po yan. Okay, the center photo of the Philippine Star, the front page, is a photo of the USS Chancellorsville, a guided missile cruiser traversing the Taiwan Strait, okay, making their presence known and making sure that the shipping lanes, sea lanes remain open. Siyempre, nagpaparamdam din sila sa China. Meanwhile, COA flags DBM over 3 billion investment. Tinawag pansin ng Commission on Audit ang DBM, particularly, eto na naman, yung Procurement Service or DBM, okay, PSDBM, for investing 3 billion pesos in Land Bank and Development Bank of the Philippines. Now, the issue here is because it's not within their authority or responsibility, and they have not answered saan nang galing or kanino kinuha yung 3 billion pesos na yun. Because if they got 3 billion to invest, then somebody must have given the 3 billion, or an office of or a department or agency in government had to give up the 3 billion. Okay, now, Pope Francis has designated Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle as his special envoy to the 50th General Conference of the Federation of Asian Bishops Conference in Bangkok, Thailand. Okay, yan po. So, binabalita lang dyan na gumagalaw, aktibo si Cardinal Tagle, and he is apparently one of the highest officials now in Rome. Okay, and by the way, today is, if I am not mistaken, National Heroes Day. And the photo on the front page of the Philippine Star, lower part, is a photo of a monument of Filipino and American soldiers fighting against Japanese during World War II. And that is in defense in Dinalupihan, Bataan. Okay, so August 22, that was August 22. Okay, now the government has declared today as National Heroes Day. Okay, let's not forget, if you are in politics or want to put up your own party list group, the COMELEC has started receiving applications for party lists and political groups, okay, registration. And last but not the least, ramp up local fertilizer production. And that is, according to Senator Cynthia Villar, that the country needs to start producing more and more local fertilizer instead of relying on imported fertilizer that the farmers cannot afford. So, those are the front page news, and we will now go to our topics for interview. First up will be about a proposed bill to make Quiapo district. Hindi lang po Quiapo Church, because many of you, when we say Quiapo, we think Quiapo Church, okay? Pero yung Quiapo district po, malaking area yan. And a congressman has filed a bill proposing to make that as a heritage site. Let's find out, but first, let's introduce our guest this morning.
Joel Chua is the representative of Manila's 3rd District in the 19th Congress. One of the bills he recently filed was the proposal of declaring Quiapo as a National Heritage Center. Prior to this, Chua served as councilor in the nation's capital for 4 terms.
Okay, good morning to you, Congressman Chua. Welcome to the program. I think you're on mute, Congressman. Could you just check your computer? Baka nag-auto-mute yan. Try now. There you go. I can hear you.
Hi, good morning, Sir Cito, and thanks for having me here.
Okay, Congressman, you have proposed in a bill to declare or to classify the Quiapo district. Please clarify that. Are you proposing for the district of Quiapo to be declared a heritage site, or are we talking about Quiapo Church only?
Just the immediate environs of Quiapo Church and San Sebastian Church.
Okay, so, just the churches themselves?
No, the immediate environs. So meaning, including the yung mga houses po doon na like the house of Nakpil and other houses, the house of Paterno, including the San Sebastian Church.
Okay, and what led you to make this or take this action? Kasi there are many subject matters that one would consider priority. What led you to move on this proposed bill?
Well, it was actually, I received a text message from Sir Fernando Sialcita. He was asking me to have coffee with him. So I met him. Fernando Sialcita was with Claire Vitug and a group of historical conservationists. So during our discussion, they lobbied for this bill. Actually, the reason why I got interested with this bill is because namumblema po ako dun sa San Sebastian Church. Dahil yung San Sebastian Church po ngayon, masyado ng kinakalawang. Medyo talagang matindi na yung kalawang ng San Sebastian Church. So they are in dire need of financial assistance. But considering that there is a barrier under the Constitution, the separation of the church and the state. So I could not do anything about it. So I'm looking for ways to help San Sebastian Church. And then, ito nga po, yung group po ng conservationists headed by Sir Fernando Sialcita, lobbied for this heritage zone. So, which nagustuhan ko rin naman po.
And what would that entail? Anong mangyari? Kasi I'm with you regarding San Sebastian Church Cathedral, because even before COVID, we were already featuring the restoration or the attempts to restore the church, and then the issues about commercial establishments digging around the San Sebastian Cathedral and possibly affecting or endangering the structure or the foundations. But mukhang nagkalimutan during COVID. Now, what would it entail to declare the area, the environment, the immediate vicinity around Quiapo and San Sebastian Church and the historical houses? What would it entail and magkano, sino?
Well, for one, Sito, ako kasi I was raised in Quiapo. I was born and raised in Quiapo. In fact, until now, dyan din po ang pamilya ko sa Quiapo along Bilibid Bay. So this is just a walking distance from my house. Ito po ang area to. That's why I'm very familiar with this place. Alam po ninyo, during, before po, yung Hidalgo, if you know this street, ito po Hidalgo Street po, it used to house middle and upper class of the society in the area. Because why? Because of its close proximity to church, to schools, and to Malacanang, and even market.
Yeah, because historically in the Philippines, the center was always either the church or the municipio, and the people who lived around that ay yung mga may kaya.
Yes, opo. Unfortunately, pag pupunta po kayo ngayon doon sa Hidalgo, medyo makikita po ninyo na pagtiwanan na po ito. So now, I have this idea of developing the area dito po sa Plaza del Carmen, dito po sa Hidalgo, and yun po, yung area po yun, yung sa may Barbosa, sa may House of Nakpil, yun po yung mga historical site po dyan. But unfortunately, because of the funding, siyempre budgetary requirement na naman po ang problemahin natin dyan. So, I got this information that the church in Paway is being restored and being financed by UNESCO. It's an international organization. So, once approved in Congress, marami pong benepisyo ang matatanggap po itong areas, itong surrounding area ito po. For one, we will be getting technical assistance from the national government, the National Historical Commission. Also, we will be getting grants from the national government. Not only from the national government, perhaps we could also get the fundings from the international organization like UNESCO. So yun po talaga yung habol namin to develop this area. So what is the effect? If in the event mga declare itong national site and eventually it will be rehabilitated and redeveloped. So simply, magkakaroon po ng more jobs opportunity dito po sa area and then we will magkakaroon po ng mga infrastructure projects and of course the preservation and the conservation of the area will be maintained.
Okay, now those are the ideals. Kumbaga, yun yung ating panaginip, ating pangarap. But what happens? I mean, because the national government, in fact, the Secretary Jokno was already saying na yung ayuda, parang nagtatapon tayo ng pera. I just read it this morning. So the mentality in the national government and by economic managers is that we don't have money. We have to pay out about 60% of our GDP, pambayad utang lang. Do you think that your proposed bill will even survive the House of Representatives given the belt-tightening state of mind?
Sabi nga po nila, wala pong nagwawagi pag susuko ka. So tayo po, pagsusuko po tayo, ngayon pa lang po, if we will be discouraged, talagang wala po talagang mangyayari. So we will just try everything, no? Sito, to have this bill passed in Congress. And hindi naman, we are not only after the budget of the national government. We are also after the funding from international organization and financial institutions. So perhaps we could get funding from outside the national government.
Okay, but is anyone in charge or will there be someone or a body that will be in charge? Kasi siyempre maraming sigurado ako maraming tutulong. Pero especially overseas Filipino or mga UNESCO nga, sabi mo, and other, other institutions. But they will always say, sino kausap namin? Who do we deal with that is in position and with authority and is the legal personality? Because that is something I have discovered about this international body. Kailangan merong body na pang-international dito sa heritage area.
Yes, because of this bill, we're going to tackle it for second sa committee level. So sa committee level po, we will invite all stakeholders like the National Historical Commission, the local government concerned. Marami po kasing option. Number one, isa po sa mga tinitingnan ko dito is to create another agency like yung IA po, yung Intramuros Administration. Or perhaps we could include it sa local government unit. Meron din po kasing tourism ang local government unit. So lahat po yan i-take into consideration po natin. We will get the suggestions and ideas and insights of these technical persons, of mga technical agencies.
Congressman Chua, you were a councilor before, so hindi na bago sa'yo itong local politics and also, of course, these concerns. Now, wouldn't it be better if there was just a body like, the Diocese of Quiapo? Pasensya ka na, hindi ko alam yung mga terms, no?
Yes.
But Diocese of Quiapo, the Diocese of San Sebastian, parang yung sila na lang ang in charge, and then the international bodies and the volunteer contributors can just go to them. Because and I'm not being critical of government. I'm pointing out the headache of bureaucratic requirements, yung sobrang dami nating mga batas na nakakagulo lang instead of fast-tracking funding and preservation.
Well, I agree with you, but hindi lang naman po yung dalawang basilika ang gusto nating ma-preserve dito eh. Pati po yung mga nasa proximity po nung area po niyan. Like sinasabi nga po natin, if you will go to the stretch of Hidalgo Street, makikita po ninyo, ang dami pong mga lumang bahay doon that needs to be restored, needs to be preserved. So, pati po kasi yun, isasama rin po natin. So, sa akin po, with this bill, I hope not only the national government, not only the local government, but also private sectors should also help. Kasi hindi naman po namin kakayanin to lang eh. We need the help of everyone.
Yeah, you've said the magic word, private sector, because, katulad mo, although I've never lived in the districts you mentioned, I used to go there a lot. I used to work in TM Calao. I grew up every summer under the shadow of the former, of the late General Jimmy Barbers. So, kumbaga, laman lupa rin ako ng City of Manila. But, when and also the National Press Club, of course, no? Now, what came to my mind in my last visit last year to your area is that sabi ko, bakit kaya hindi mapuwersa? I mean, I'm using the word force. Why can't we force property owners, homeowners, to at least take the first step? Kasi there are places there coming out of Binondo, out of Divisoria, na pag tinitingnan ko, ang nililinis lang nila yung loob ng building nila. Pero yung labas nila, ginagawa ng banyo, ginagawa ng basurahan. And I said, you know, maybe if you made it the responsibility of property owners to power wash this area every day and to paint their buildings. Kasi kahit man lang pintura, hindi na ginagawa ng mga property. And not just in Quiapo or Chinatown, Congressman, ano? That seems to be a national concern na yung Pilipino wala nang pake doon sa labas ng bahay nila.
Well, actually, I totally agree with you, Cito. No? But I noticed, marami po dito sa mga property owner, dito po sa mga binabangkit ko, sa mga heritage site. Yung iba po mukhang they're no longer staying in the area. So baka mamaya mga ako na to eh. Baka yung iba po sa kanila nasa abroad na or hindi naman siya. So sayang naman. In fact, pati po yung mga cinema, isinasama po namin dito. Yung Times Cinema ba yan? Yung nandito rin po sa Quezon Boulevard. May dalawa po kaming sine dito na medyo talagang antigo na rin po. So kasama po yan sa mga gusto nating mapapreserve. So I agree with you totally. Dapat po talaga it is high time. But I think kailangan po dyan ordinansa lang. But the problem is, yung mga property owner po karamihan wala na.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to start an argument with you or a discussion.
No, okay.
But you know, kasi during the time of Mayor Isko, ginastosan ng milyong-milyon yung mga tulay, lighting, etc. And I said, okay, that was a good initiative, a starter. Pero parang walang follow-through. Meaning, okay, kami sa City Hall, inayos na namin to. Kayo na, ayusin nyo naman yung harapan ng bahay nyo or building. I mean like commercial buildings, Congressman. Ang daming commercial building. Ano ba yung galing ka dun sa Intramuros, tatawid ka? Jones ba yun? Tatawid ka?
Yes.
Pagkatas puro, papunta na ng Divisoria yun. Puro building yun, pero walang lighting, hindi pinipintahan, ang dumi ng mga building. Isn't that possible? Isn't it possible? Wala ba tayong mga zoning laws?
Meron naman po tayong zoning laws. But I think siguro proper implementation. Kasi for the past 2 years, busy tayo lahat sa COVID. Lahat yung attention natin, lahat puro napunta na sa COVID. So actually, at the start of the Isko administration, dyan na siya papunta But siguro 6 months lang ng administration ni Isko, COVID na ang pinroblema namin So at that time, talagang lahat ng focus ng LGU is for the survival of our constituents. So doon po napunta yung attention. But now, eto nga po, sinisimula na po natin itong pag-aayos, of course, with the present administration, si Mayora Hani, medyo ano po to, babae po to ika nga mas ano to, mas more on ano to sa bahay.
Meticuloso.
Diba? So, meticuloso po to. So, tingin ko, masisimulan na po yan.
Okay, so for your part, that's the only focus that you are focusing on the declaration of Quiapo and San Sebastian areas as heritage. Now, how much money are we talking about? How much money do you expect to generate or to appropriate or, to assign to this area kung magkatotoo?
Well, siyempre sa simula, kung magkakano muna ang po pwedeng maibigay ng national government. Of course, kagaya po na sinabi ninyo kanina, si Secretary Jokno is already complaining about the so much expenditures. No? So tayo naman, ang importante, masimulan lang muna So yung ibang funding I hope and I am very hopeful that we could be getting it from the private sector, from the international organization. So, hindi naman po tayo kaasa plainly sa national government.
But you know, Congressman, I remember someone telling me, hindi ko nasasabihin, hindi ko sasabihin kung Tauke o Kuepe, no? Pero sasabihin ko na sa'yo na he told me, Cito, Binondo, Chinatown, all of that area, it doesn't look very attractive. But if you collected all of their passbooks and their bank statements, baka mas mayaman pa yung dalawang district dyan kaysa sa buong Pilipinas, including Makati, including Ayala, Alabang, etc. Now, having been told that, and I know it is a fact, there are so many billionaires in that area. Can't we get them to be the champions for the, ano ba ang tawag nun? To reinvigorate the entire commercial district of Manila, pati na yung Quiapo at yung San Sebastian. Kasi San Sebastian is not just a religious or a cathedral or Catholic site. I mean, it also covers parts of Malacanang and universities there.
Yes, I agree with you, Cito. No? In fact, meron po tayong tinatawag na corporate social responsibility ng mga korporasyon, yung sinatawag natin CSR. So perhaps we could suggest to them na yung CSR po nila, dito po nila ibagsak sa mga pag-develop, pag-rehabilitate po ng area in Manila.
Wala ba tayong ano dyan? Wala ba tayo dyang big time ng mga Taipan na pwede mong ma-mention? Kasi alam ko marami yan. Nakikilala lang natin yung lumalabas sa top 10 ng mga magazines, the richest people in the Philippines. Pero yung mga tiga rin, mas mayaman pa doon sa mga top 10 ng richest eh.
Well, wala pa kasi pumapansin sa akin, Cito eh. So, siguro with your program, no, baka mapansin na po nila ako. So, kaya nga, salamat po. At least, it's an honor na mapunta po dito sa programa nito.
Well, thank you very much for that, Congressman.
And to promote this bill.
Yeah, that's the point, no? So essentially, first is to put up the bill, make it into law, and then create the body that will essentially run the whole thing, and hopefully there will be enough volunteers. But what will be the impact of this bill? Kasi okay, hopefully magkakaroon ng konting funding, may official body na. Pero ano ang intention ng bill mo? Kasi pag ginawang heritage site sa Intramuros Administration, hello, hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta mag-construct. Kailangang bagong luma.
Tama po kayo. Actually, again, wala namang masyado nagko-construct dito. Because nga po, medyo kung titignan po ninyo yung area, medyo napag-iwanan na talaga eh. So, baka this time around, when we develop this area, baka may mga mag-construct na at ayusin na yung mga mapansin na nila, yung mga homeowners lalo na, mapansin na nila yung mga bahay nila. Dahil siyempre, it will create more opportunity. Siyempre, tourism, yan, hinahabol din po natin doon sa area. Because if we will have tourism, it will create more jobs, opportunity para po sa mga kababayan namin dito sa Quiapo.
Yeah, but when you make it a heritage site, does that mean na yung construction or zoning laws per se would be very restrictive? Kasi, you know, most people think, ito nga, nagtatanong na yung desk namin, ano, will the bill affect private land use and development within Quiapo? Because in Intramuros, I think there is a limit to how high, there is a limit to how the external looks, etc. And there are even restrictions on what type of businesses and development are allowed in the area. If Quiapo and San Sebastian becomes a heritage site, what will the rules be?
There will, of course, there will be rules, no? Just like in Intramuros. But at present, we have the zoning ordinance. So sa zoning ordinance, may limit na rin talaga eh. May limit na rin talaga yung pagpapatayo mo. Ito yung tinatawag natin FAR, yung floor area ratio. So, you have to limit yung height and everything. Siguro, ang mababago po dito is yung pasad ng mga building. It has to, may certain design that they have to follow. So, because yung area, lalo na especially along Hidalgo, puro heritage po yan eh. So, yan, yung mga tatamaan po dyan, siguro, they will have to follow. But in the meantime, for now, ang tagal na eh. Wala talaga rin pumapansin. And medyo na, sorry to say, area ko po to, pero medyo nabubulok na yung area namin. So, we have to do it now. Otherwise, wala na pong mangyayari. Baka pabulok na po ng pabulok itong area ko habang tumatagal.
Will declaring it as heritage site also result in creating a more pedestrian friendly area? Kasi I know that in Vigan, Calle Crisologo, for instance, and some places you can't drive on particular hours. Kumbaga, ginawa na talagang pedestrians only. Now, I know there are places in your area na ano pa nga, Piedrachina ba ang tawag doon? Yung mga white cobblestones pa ang mga kalsada na sayang, tinabunan lang ng asfalto.
Actually, yun ang idea ko. In fact, I wanted to develop, at first, I wanted to develop yung Plaza del Carmen. That is the big street fronting San Sebastian Church. It's a big plaza. Kaya lang, medyo napaparkingan na kung ano-ano doon. Mga jeepney, mga truck minsan. Sabi ko na gano'n, ano ba ito nangyari dito sa lugar ko? Diba? So, I wanted to develop it. Dito po talaga nagsimula lahat yan. So, I wanted to develop that area just like the Plaza del Carmen, Hidalgo, and Globo de Oro in Muslim area. In Quiapo, yung Muslim area po doon. So, lahat yung nakaplano po yan sa aking infrastructure project dito po sa distrito ko. But unfortunately, medyo limited yung sources namin. So with that, naghahanap talaga ako ng iba pang sources para at least ma-develop ito as soon as possible. Kasi wala na eh, pasama na ng pasama ang itsura. If I will not take action on this, wala nang magamalasakit pa dito.
Okay, well, Congressman Chua, thank you very much for all the efforts you are making to at least you are doing something about it, and sana gayahin kayo ng business owners, building owners, developers to paint their facades, clean up the frontage, and help in this effort to revive the districts of Quiapo and of San Sebastian. And I hope that the Catholic viewers would consider helping and sending some help there, kasi pag nawala yung cathedral ng San Sebastian, it would be such an architectural loss. Thank you very much for your time, Congressman.
Thank you, Cito. And sana dagdag nyo na po yung mga taipa na binabanggit ninyo.
Okay. Pangalanan natin sila. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Congressman.
Thank you.
Have a good day and God bless you.
Thank you, Cito.
Okay. That's Congressman Joel Chua, 3rd District of Manila. And for those of you who might say, Cito, marami tayong ibang priority. Yes, we have priorities, but we have to leave something behind. We need to at least keep part of our history, and all of that is very important. Kasi katulad niyang San Sebastian Cathedral or Church, I don't know how it is category, dyan sa Malacanang, it is one of the best, it is a classic architectural piece. Okay? Hindi lang yan simbahan. It is a classic architectural piece. And, you know, it is something na hindi dapat mapabayaan. Kasi dito sa Pilipinas, our sin, and I will call it a sin, is we only fix things when they're broken, or we take care of things when they're broken. We don't do maintenance. Okay, let's go for a quick break. And when we return, we will feature someone who can help us go through this developing story. Ito pong the growing population of senior citizens in the country. And not many people seem to be talking about it. Not many media outlets are picking up on it. But other countries have suddenly woke up to the reality na, teka, ang dami na nating matanda dito, but hindi natin napaghandaan. We'll go for a quick break, and we'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and we continue with our story on senior citizens. And just for your information, the Commission on Population and Development, citing recent data from the PSA, said the percentage of Filipino elderly in the population has expanded in the last 2 decades from 8.5% to 8.5%, meaning, okay, in 20 years, we grew from 4.5 to 9.2 million senior citizens. Now, the International Monetary Fund warned that an aging population and slower labor force growth affect economies in many ways. The economy slows down. Working age people pay more to support the elderly, and public budgets strain under the higher total cost of health and retirement programs for old people. In 2019, Popcom noted that 55% of the country's senior citizens had no pension. So yan po yung mga kailangan nating mapag-usapan sa lipunan because sooner or later, we will all grow old, elderly, and someone will have to care for us. And the bigger the population to take care of, the bigger the burden. So, ayan po, no? Let's now introduce our next guest here on Agenda.
Attorney Franklin Quijano is the chairman and CEO of the National Commission of Senior Citizens. He was mayor of Iligan City from 1998 to 2004. A human rights and labor lawyer, Quijano is also a resource person of the Center for Peace and Conflict Studies.
Okay, good morning, Attorney Quijano. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Cito. It's really a dream to be with you. Now it's a reality.
I hope it doesn't become a nightmare. Anyway, Attorney, thank you for joining us this morning. You and I are both senior citizens, but by God's grace, you and I still manage to take care of ourselves, I think, professionally and financially.
Amen.
But my heart is for the many Filipino senior citizens who are not in a position to take care of them, and the issue and the fact that it's not being addressed as actively as it should be, as other countries do. Now, you're with the Commission. What are your concerns on the matter?
Well, Cito, I'd like to assure you that the creation of the National Commission of Senior Citizens, which has been recent, it was passed on July 25, 2019. So really, this has triggered a lot of challenges to prepare for an aging population. Of course, we realize that right now in Japan, for every 10 Japanese, there are 4 who are elderly. In the case of the Philippines, it's still 1 for every 10. But then again, we are growing old in the sense, and 20 years from now, it can double. So we really have to prepare. It's not just the resources that we are looking at. It's also the families, the society, which must be able to do some imagery of the outcome of a growing, aging population. So, yeah, go ahead, Cito.
The last time I spoke to someone about senior citizens, one of the points that came up was that we do not prepare Filipinos for the time when they become senior citizens and retirees. I think we were talking about adjusting the retirement age. And it was pointed out in that conversation that the retirement age is not the issue. The issue is that Filipinos, from the first day that they become employees or they have a business, need to start saving for their retirement so they don't become dependent on their families or they don't invest on their children to become their retirement plan, etc., or become a burden of the state. Is this something that's on the playbook
Agenda,
of the Commission?
That is correct. In fact, in all aspects, we really have to say that life is a cycle. It starts from birth to a long life that we have right now. In the past, medyo maiksi yung buhay ng Pilipino. Ngayon, humahaba at humahaba, and we are even more conscious about it. When IATF says, don't leave the house because you're a senior citizen, medyo tayo, we comply. And that means that there is a bigger possibility that more are going to grow old with healthcare improving. Of course, even on the issue of health, makita mo na we have to prepare our working population earlier before reaching senior citizenship. Kasi kung at a younger age, mapariwara ka, you don't even take care of yourself. When you grow old, you will really involve lots of funds to maintain your health because you're sickly. So I think we have to have an integrative approach in dealing with the elderly and the senior citizens. But as it is, it's really total. And so even yung retirement, Cito, we really hope that our congressmen, and I'm happy you had a congressman before this program, even our legislators will have to consider yung retirement age. In the Philippines, isa lang kasi ang retirement age, period. But in other countries, there is such a thing as employment, re-employment, multiple retirement. And when that happens, even the senior citizens who are still strong, who still have all the capacities, the skill sets, the wisdom, may be able to help in building a stronger and a more resilient economy.
Okay, as far as the National Commission for Senior Citizens are concerned, what are your priority programs? You already talked about implementing a variable retirement age like Japan and America. We talked about the need for Filipinos to plan early for retirement, and you're very concerned about healthcare. But what are your major projects or the Commission's major projects or plans?
The Commission is very new. It's practically 1 year old. It doesn't have the budget that it's supposed to have. And the functions of DSWD is yet to be transferred to us. But, you know, we are anticipating lots of works ahead. And even as we wait for the transfer of functions, may mga programs tayong tinitingnan. One is, you know, upon retirement, the process slows down because we have senior citizens who do not know what to do anymore because they're reduced into sa bahay ka na lang kasi retired ka na. So we really hope that we'll be able to ask the whole society. Come to think of this, the senior citizens can still kick. In the language of Mindanao, sikad, pwede pang magsikad, ano? And so we are actually hoping to ask everyone, tap the senior citizen, where there are problems in the development of the barangays and the municipality. Perhaps the senior citizens can help.
Well,
where there are needs to develop enterprises, whether social enterprises or private enterprises.
So Attorney, you're telling me that while we have a commission that has no budget, and officially speaking, your jobs or your job description and your mandate is not yet on the table or officially transferred to the body?
Well, it's half-half. The half which is to be transferred to us is that of DSWD's function. Yung issue ng social pension kasi is still with DSWD. Yung centenarian, yung umaabot ng 100 years old is still with DSWD. And then the residential care facilities, the abandoned seniors at times need to have housing and attention, nasa DSWD pa. So while we are preparing for that, dahil bago pa nga tayo, we are actually moving around, and there are 7 commissioners, including me, with their respective geographical areas of concerns for their planning. And so we are actually moving around, talking to the senior citizens and the LGUs and whoever else will listen, including the business enterprises. Let's help do and ask the senior citizens to assist in the rebound of our economy. Yan yung economic component na nakita natin na pwede pang makapag-contribute ang senior citizen. We want the senior citizens to be more productive, even as we say that there are those who need the attention of government.
What about manpower? What about, do you even have a building or an office, an official address?
Yeah, well, we are at Malacanang. We are at room 106, Mabini Hall. So for a start, we already have that. We have some little budget, but this is, like I said, for the start. we are being given by DBM some clustered regions, about 8 regions for a start. And we hope to convince not just DBM, but the whole of government that, this aging issue is really serious. And we hope that we'll be able to prepare the country while hindi pa ganong kadami yung senior citizen, because 15 years from now, the number would be even more, it will bloat some more.
No, because we went from 4.5 to 9 million in 20 years.
Yeah,
So,
it's 2020 yan, Cito, ha? 2020 yan. So, 2022 na ngayon. So, mas dumadami, maraming nagbe-birthday.
okay. Now, so you have an office, you have a minimal, kumbaga, petty cash. Petty cash yung, in relative, in comparison, naka-petty cash kayo. But
Tama.
how big is the plan supposed to be? I mean, when the commission finally gets settled and it is fully operational, how big is this commission supposed to be? Are you supposed to be like a consultative body, tiga tanong-tanong, tiga survey, or talagang, hello, teka, anything that has to do with senior citizens, we're the authority?
Yeah, the former is what our preference, Cito. We want to be on the ground. We want to be present in every municipality, because it is in the municipality that we would need immediate actions. For instance, sa municipality, doon ang nagkakasakit. Kailangan ng
So
geriatrician.
para kayong attached agency ng DSWD, is that correct?
No, we are under the office of the president. So while yung sinabi mong advisory body will be clustered sooner, we will be asking all the government agencies na connected din ang trabaho sa senior citizens. We need to have the support of the DOH, the ILG, and all. But right now, we are actually designed to be 200, but we are hoping na we will be in the municipalities so that the needed attention of the seniors will really be given so much.
Okay, but how do you operate or make your presence felt in the municipality level? You would have to have people, or at least one person per municipality representing the commission, or is it going to be a cooperation with the DOH, DSWD? Oh, boss, attorney, ito, meron kami mga senior citizen issue dito. How is it supposed to work?
Yeah, that is the second option, Cito. We really are asking the help of everyone, and so far, ang may kakayanan na magsuporta is DILG. DOH doesn't have the man on the ground. DSW doesn't have the man on the ground. All the other welfare institutions ay kulang ng tao, and we are looking at DILG dahil every municipality may tao si DILG. But even saying that, we are really hoping that we would be able to develop ours as well. Kasi ang isa sa mga challenges dito, and I hope you will help me on this, yung database. So when we took over, we realized that even your statement of a 9 million or even 12 million right now, wala tayong database makukuha. The PSA just have the names. And we need more. We need the skill sets, because we want the senior citizens to really bloom and blossom even as we are at this age.
I think your solution to the problem is the senior citizens office in every barangay, because we have one here in Barrio Capitolio, and they're very active, and they're the ones who actually are in charge. Anything to do with senior citizens, may office dito. I hope that that's going to be the same in everything else. But attorney, I'm sorry, but we've run out of time, but good to at least be appraised with what the commission is, the challenges of the commission are, and what your plans are. And don't worry, there will always be time and space here on the program for as
Thank
long
you.
as the Lord allows us to stay on air.
Amen. Salamat, Chito.
Okay.
Salamat.
Thank you very much, Attorney Franklin Quijano, Chairman and CEO, National Commission of Senior Citizens. God bless you, sir.
God bless you too, Cito. God bless.
Okay, and now we leave you with this week's blessing. Maiksi lang po, pero namnamin nyo. Take it to heart, and it comes from the book of Psalms, chapter 32, verse 8. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. Take this as a blessing from the Lord. Take this as a guidance from the Lord. Let it guide you through this week, because when the Lord instructs you and guides you, that's all the blessing you need, because you know you're doing what's right and you're going where you should be. Thank you for joining us this
Amen.
Monday, and have a good day ahead of you. God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News PH.